Facsimile was done at the time when fax technology was happening. So, in fact, it's a play on how the work was manufactured. Facsimile is also a likeness, so portraits are likenesses. So, hence the title. I was in Paris when I first started it. It was a work that was done from, I guess, late 1990 up till 93. And it was done as a response to the AIDS crisis. It actually wasn't done as a work of art. It was done as a work to kind of help me kind of process the grief that I was going through. It was at the height of the AIDS crisis here in Toronto. There wasn't an AIDS memorial. And I just really wanted to make a kind of a public memorial for my group of friends to go and sort of honor the dead in some ways. I was in France at the time, and my partner Alex Wilson then was working on the AIDS memorial here in town, and because I wanted to do a memorial piece, I asked him to send me the names. Because he was involved with the memorial, I thought he would have a list of names, and so it was at that time he said, you couldn't really give me the list because of confidentiality. There were all these issues around confidentiality at the time. Who had AIDS and who didn't, and you couldn't cross borders, or you might not get insurance, or so there was a number of reasons why you wouldn't want to disclose your sero status. So I kind of went another route. I asked him to send me a copy of the Extra magazine's Proud Lives section. And what he did was he faxed it to me. And what astounded me about the technology was it forgot the images. Because it's a digital technology, it just worked in zeros and ones, right? So it would reduce continuous tone photographs to these kind of black and white schematic photographs. And like us, the technology forgets. And so some of these images, you just see the teeth smiling out, or the collars of their shirts. And it just kind of blew my mind. And I thought, oh, this is it. This is the way technology, which is a prosthesis for our failings, is failing at the same time. So what I ended up doing was imitating that failure of the technology to remember in a way that mimics our own failure to remember. We're more likely to remember somebody's smell or the sound of their laugh than their actual physical presence once they die. So this kind of fading away of the physical is a kind of, I guess, mirroring of our own kind of experience of grief. So. And you'll find that some of them are completely black. Sometimes they were people I knew and I just couldn't cope with, drawing them that day. So, but I still wanted to have them there, so they're kind of like these place markers for them. The first time I showed it, which was at Garnet Press, there was this kind of interesting moment because it was kind of a heavy piece and emotionally charged. People would go upstairs and look at it, but the opening was taking place downstairs, so you heard this kind of echo of all these voices animating these people that were no longer in the room. And it was Adam McGoyan, I think, that pointed it out to me. He came downstairs and went like, oh my God, this is like a ready-made film piece. There was also some interesting encounters I had with people who were viewing it that weren't really the art audience, but had heard that their son had been represented in this artwork. And they came down, and one of the women that I spoke to was a mother of one of the fellows. And she thanked me and she took me up and showed me where her boy was. And it was one of the blank ones, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry I didn't, represent him in any kind of representational way, but just as this kind of black marker." And she said, no, that's fine. I just know that there's a space for him that I can fill in with all of my memories of him." And it was just really one of those kind of touching moments. And one of those intersections of communication. I mean, if you can really just talk to one person, I think that is kind of real communication. And it was quite touching, actually.